Hi, welcome to Hit the Bar, the Shrimps fans panel. We're welcome tonight. Gareth back from last week, the other Gareth from a couple of weeks ago, and Dill, welcome back, Dill. We talked last week about how our season is going in little phases, isn't it? We had the 5-1-0 defeats, then we had a couple where we'd gone a couple of goals down and then came back, and then the last two we've gone up, and then we've ended up drawing games. Just talking about Notts County and the Bradford game, Gareth Finney first. How did you come out of both those games? Talk about them one at a time, if you like. What was your feeling after the game? Was it one of disappointment, or were you quite encouraged?
Encouraged after the Notts County game. I thought that was a really good, solid point because they did come on to us the last 15 minutes when they got the equaliser. Last night I came away a little bit deflated because I really thought we'd got that first win. Normally you'd say against Bradford, good, solid point, but I just felt last night if we'd have got that second goal, there would have been no coming back. So it's 4 games unbeaten. So this is a nice little chunk now in the season where we're just picking up some results. So that's really positive. And then we go for the big one on Saturday.
Good. Did you see positives, Gareth, from the last 2 games?
Yeah, I agree with Gareth. I thought Notts County, we did a right number on them.
Yeah,
I thought they ran out of ideas pretty quickly. Seeing Carl, he was trying to pick a pass and he couldn't pick anything. McGoldrick was pretty much ineffective. Second, Bradford, we went right at them, didn't we? Put them on the back foot straight away. Should have been 3-4-0 up at half time.
Yeah.
That's all disappointment. And then we just couldn't hang on because we were blowing out our backsides.
And the goal, you saw it coming. Did you the pressure that Bradford were getting in that?
Yeah, but they weren't creating massive chances, were they? It was a good goal, to be fair. It was a proper big header, wasn't it, at the back post? But I didn't feel it was imminent, but you could sort of see it was. Pressure. Yeah, it was building. It was.
What about you, Dill? Did you see positive signs? And if you did, what were they?
I did in both games, especially Notts County. I thought that we actually had the personnel to take on the big teams, to neutralise them. We saw them having to hit it long to McGoldrick, and he was panicking. He was having to swap around, and we were swapping centre-backs, and we proved that we could neutralise and just completely shun the big players in the league out of the game, and I think that's going to be important. Bradford, I saw a lot of... The players are starting to come together a bit more, especially Tatanda and Lewis on the left. They were working together. Adam Lewis was getting into good positions and just drilling it across, and I think we needed to kill it off in that first half, absolutely. We had too many good chances not to, so I'm quite disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about that combination on the left-hand side. For me, the positives, the big positives from particularly the Bradford game were Adam Lewis repeatedly getting in positions and repeatedly putting in good crosses. That's something you can learn from. I mean, Dill said we're learning as a team about each other's play. That takes time, doesn't it? But did you see that as an encouraging sign, Gareth?
Yeah, absolutely. He's really coming into his own now, Adam Lewis. He's making that shirt his own now. And he's very versatile as well, isn't he? He can slot into midfield as well. Really good last night, because where I sit, he's on my side, and every time he put the ball across, you're thinking we're going to get the goal. So he's been a revelation really the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And we spoke just before we came on air about Marcus Dackers, and he looked a bit fragile early on, but of course he's not had a lot of 90 minutes in senior adult professional games, has he? Were you impressed with him, Gareth, on Tuesday? And in the games that he's played so far?
Yeah, I thought Bradford, it was brilliant. That bit where I think it was Lewis put the ball over at top and he lobbed it over at defender's head. He should have scored on the half volley. He could have just rolled it in. But his all-round game was coming on. He was putting it out to the wing. He was getting stuck in. He was winning his headers. I just think it was a real handful. You give it another 2 or 3 games, he'll get a couple of goals and he'll be off then.
Do you see that, Dill? Do you see signs that things are happening that we can replicate each game and as the players get used to each other's passing, the wins will come?
Yeah, I do, especially with Dackers. I think he did really well, but he was isolated, and towards the end of the game he was always having to hit to the left side, and they started to figure that out pretty quickly. There was no one there, and he was always having to, when he did get the ball, put it 10 or so yards back, and we were kind of back where we started. So I'm hoping that once the players are confident that he is going to win the ball and hold the ball, they'll start to make the runs and they'll flick on. I think if Slew was on a bit sooner, whilst he was doing that a lot more, he would have had one. He would have gone straight off, because you know what Slew's like. He'll run in behind with the ball and he'll just go.
Yeah, but as you say, 4 games unbeaten.
Yeah, really positive.
At the end of last night's game, a few people around me were saying, I wish we could have got that first win tonight. And it looked for a long time as if we were going to. But if you are going to get your first win anywhere, Accrington Stanley's the one you want in it. Are you confident going into that
I
one?
am. I went obviously last Easter when we played them away and we beat them. So that hoodoo over Accrington's gone now, as far as I'm concerned. I'm really confident this Saturday, and I think we're going to actually. I'm talking 2 or 3-0 maybe, because we are. I know, but one of these weeks, all these missed chances and everything, it's all going to click, and they're all going to go in.
Someone's getting a tonking, aren't they?
So someone's going to get a tonking. Let's hope it's Aki.
Because I think it was Dackers who said after the game, it's not like we're not creating chances.
Yeah.
That's the frustration. And we've had that before watching Morecambe, where you just cannot see where your next goal's going to come from. That's not the case at the moment, is it, Gary?
No, it's not. Adam Lewis is coming into his own. I love that. I love the way he's coming and he said, right, I'm stopping in this team. This is me now.
Yeah.
He's played at left back, he's played left side.
And pushing to Tonda on the same side as him. That's
what about that last week, weren't they? Yeah. You know, at the Fleetwood game. That's worked really well, 2 left footers. But yeah, he's got that little touch of quality. Yeah, I like him.
Are you confident for coming into Accrington? You're being a bit non-committal there.
You can't be too confident with that, can you? It's a horrible place to go. I think the weather's forecast is a bit rubbish as well, isn't it? But you know, if you're going to tonk someone, tonk Aki.
Yeah. Dill, what about you? Are you looking at Accrington as a definite 3-pointer? Or
I'd like to, but I'm a bit superstitious. And we got 5 losses in a row. I'm scared we're going to get 5 draws in a row.
Yeah.
But then if we got 5 wins in a row after that, I'd be quite happy. So if it works out that way, so be it.
What do you think, though? Come on, what do you think Saturday?
A good 3-0.
A good
3-0.
Yeah, well, we're all confident going into that, aren't we? I mean, I've seen like you have. I think that the important thing is that the players are learning each other's games, and that takes time. You know, most teams, even most teams we've had, you've had 4 or 5 as a core, and then you built around them. But to have everybody new, and what a bit of scouting, you know, to get players like Dackers, to get him in, Stott. Paul Lewis, plays like that. They're good players that were brought in, but it does take time, doesn't it, Gareth?
Yeah, Stott's been really consistent, hasn't he, at the back? It's just going to click one of these weeks. We are going to give something good hiding. I am really confident for Saturday. I've never been this confident going into the match, simply because Accrington are not ripping up any trees. Are they? No. They're struggling. I think the fans, you were saying before about the fans are getting on the back now at Accrington. This is the time to play them. And I know there's 2 ways of looking at this. We can go on and not get the wins and it become more of a real, an issue and psychologically for the players. But I think the determination now, we're not winning on Tuesday. I think we're going to be really determined to get that first win at Accrington. And
to be fair, Gareth, we've not seen that, have we? We've not seen any frustration at all. That we've not seen their heads go down or anything. They've got the belief, haven't they? And I don't know of a club that has, not won in 8 games at the start of the season and been applauded off the pitch of everyone. So there is the confidence there, isn't there?
I think so. I think that's Derek. He's a little bit more mellow this time around. Yeah. It's a bit more positive, a bit more upbeat, and he has built a proper unit. Might not be the best players in the league, maybe not even in the conference, but they're a proper unit. Yeah. You've got to admire him for that.
Yeah, good. And talking about the fans have been really good and they've been really patient, haven't they, Dill? Do you think that's important going on?
Especially at home, because it has dropped a little bit. Not just the attendances, but the atmosphere itself.
Yeah.
We used to, back a long time ago, we were behind them for a long time and then dropped off a little bit, and then recently we're only getting behind them for a good 20-25 minutes. Yeah. It's not a lot of encouragement for a team who need it.
Yeah.
So I think the sooner we actually band together, I know it's frustrating, I know we're a bit the ownership, but we have to support them.
When they've been loud, they've been pretty loud, and at the end of the game, the fans have been applauding them off the pitch and staying to do that, to let the players know, hang on, look, we know it's tough at the moment, but we appreciate what you are doing. Just going on to the crowds, they've dropped by quite a few hundred this season. Is there anything you put your finger on with that, Gareth?
Just the apathy, I think, with the ownership. I think a lot of people feel like we're just stuck at the moment. We're not progressing as a club. And we've always had those floating 300 or 400 fans, which we've always had that as long as I've supported Morecambe. When we're going well, they'll turn up for the matches, and then the minute the weather turns and we start losing a few games, they're not there. We need everybody. We need everybody.
Yeah, and then you've got full coach for Accrington, haven't you? Sold out for that one, haven't you?
Yeah,
and I know with Accrington, a lot of people won't be going on the coaches anyway. They'll be making their own way there. But do you see it like that? Gareth, you talk to a lot of fans. sort of noticed a little bit of a dip in enthusiasm at all?
Yeah, I think the floaters are slowly going away, aren't they now? We've got a hardcore, maybe 12, 1,500 maybe, that will be there through thick and thin. But it's just keeping them enticing. It's getting them back in. Do we do enough as a club to get them back in, and keep them? Do we interact enough with the fans to stimulate them and create that interest? We have that interest going up to League One. And that's anything like it. To get 4,500 at home.
Yeah.
And watch Morecambe nearly 40 years.
Dill, even last season we were still quite at those decent levels. We were in League Two, and we weren't, we weren't doing brilliantly. We did all right early on, but can you put your finger on anything that's affected it?
I think it probably comes down a bit to season tickets. Yeah, they're not sold as many.
No,
because people are reluctant to commit long term to something that they're scared won't be there.
I get you.
In a good few months, so they've been a bit scared and they don't want to put money where their mouth is and get a season ticket, and
then not have a club to support.
Yeah, and it definitely hurts us because they were the people who would always be there. Because if I got a season ticket, I'd just go on down to them, and they bring a mate or someone else, and they spend money in the club. But I think that's hurt us. Yeah,
well, I know that's true. I know that's 100% true because I went to another game on Sunday and I was with 2 Morecambe season ticket holders in the car, and they haven't bought one for this season, and they were. Every game they bought it when it was the 150 quid, and there was 2 reasons for them not buying. One was the uncertainty over the future of the club that we've mentioned, and the other was just simply the price rise. They'd done the sums, they knew how many games they would usually watch in a season, and they were saying at 150 quid I'm buying it every season. That little rise means I'm not buying it. Now they would come to every single game because they got the season ticket, unless they were on holiday or something. But if they were here, they were at the game. Mm-hmm. Neither of them has been to a single game this season. They worked out that they would buy tickets by the week. If they wanted to go, they go. Neither of them has been to a single game this season, and they're not interested. It's just it's a thing of habit, isn't it?
In fairness to the club, that they can't hold the prices forever, can they?
They can't, but these are lads who would go an hour and a half, 2 hours early. They'd buy 2 or 3 pints. They'd always get a pie. They'd buy a programme if they were available, that sort of stuff. So, I don't know, the 25 quid or whatever it is, 29 quid extra over a season, they would get that back off them. So I don't know, it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Do you think they were right to put the price? I know they've not brought them up for a while, but
it's a difficult one, especially because we've not got a chief executive at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with it. We can't really make those 3-year forecasted decisions because we haven't got that person in charge at the moment. I don't think the club can hold it forever. I don't know. It's a shame we can't work out how much did we spend. Would we spend it, and we can compare the two, then can't we? And then we can work out whether it was better.
And we'll have a season to compare, won't we? We'll have this season to compare, and then they can make the decisions after the.
I'm sure when we get the chief executive in, they'll have a plan and they'll have a 3-year overview of where we're going to go.
Well, that's all a bit detailed. Let's get back to the football. Let's get predictions from you for Accrington. I think you've already said 3-0, 2-0, 3-0.
I'm not as giddy. I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1, but still a win for Morecambe.
Still a win.
Dill?
Yeah, I'll go for the 3-0.
Right, I'm at 4-0.
Wow.
4-0.
I mean, the chances that we've started making, I think, are replicable in each game. And I think they'll have learned, and I think we're going to do them.
Do it right, it's 1-0 for beating 4-0.
I think we're going to do a 4-0. So that's that from me. We'll talk about the 4-0 victory or whatever next week. Until then, thanks very much. Up the Shrimps.